Hello everyone, Burb here, and after the last video on why I'm pulling for Nice Nature, I figured I could probably do this on a different card. A card that's only really saving grace is that it contains a guaranteed straightaway spurt proc for end closers. So I just wanted to analyze on how much you actually sacrifice for running SHAKUR SSR. So I'm going to be comparing the Max LB SHAKUR, which most people don't have, so this will be the best case scenario for a lot of people, versus the cream of the crop Fine Motion. We're going to compare a more reasonable card later, but we just wanted to compare the best wit card available as believed by the community. So in comparing these two cards, SHAKUR gets 15 mood effect, 25 bonus initial bond, and a skill point bonus, where Fine Mo gets a whole bunch of stuff. 17.5 friendship bonus, 5 initial wit, training effect times 10, plus 10 rather, a wit bonus, specialty priority, and race bonus. We'll go through all this step by step essentially. So to start with, let's just get the initial stuff out of the way. Fine Motion gets an initial wit bonus, and SHAKUR gets some bonus bond. All right. Let's look at the events. We already calculated the Fine Motion events back in the Nice Nature video, so look at that one if you need a breakdown on it. But the events for SHAKUR are actually quite nice. You get 35 stamina, 35 wit, 60 skill points, and for her random events, she gets some energy, some guts, and some bonus bond. So as per usual, we are going to take the RNG events at 50% face value, and boop, there we are. So an additional 5 energy, some additional guts, and some bond versus some skill points on the other side. Let's cancel out both sides and put them onto the tally. So 7 speed, 3 guts, and 5 bonds for Fine Motion, as well as 35 stam, 23 wit, 13 skill points, and 5 energy. Let's add them to the original, cancel some stuff out, and you can see right now SHAKUR actually has a little bit of an advantage through events. This is because she was buffed to have additional stats as well as a straightaway spurt hint, and Fine Motion was not. So, and also honestly, like I said in the Nice Nature video, Fine Motion's events are not actually very good in my opinion. So this will be probably the last saving grace for SHAKUR, but it does put her above what a lot of people think of her. So let's talk about training. We've done this before with the Nice Nature video, but the training has a base value for our Haru scenario, which is 6 intellect or intelligence rather, or wit, and 2 speed with 3 skill points with a plus 5 stamina bonus at the end. So you don't really have to take energy into consideration because they both have plus 5 recovery. But the formula for training is, of course, your base training value plus your stat bonus. That'll be useful for Fine Motion, has a wit bonus. Growth rate bonus, which is just on the UMA itself, that's not taken into consideration. Then 1 plus the mood bonus times the mood effect over 100. So essentially 15 mood effect is 3% training effectiveness, because we are going to be considering 20% mood bonus in general. And then times your training effectiveness times your friendship bonus times the number of people, the participants that you're counting, which was also the same for both cards, so we're not going to take that into consideration. So if we look at a level 5 friendship training, Fine Motion is going to have 11 base because of the plus 1 wit bonus, multiply it by 0.26, which is 13.86, training effectiveness 1.15, so 15% TEF for 15.93, and then you multiply it by her friendship bonus, which is the best part about the card, for a 21.9 wit per tap base. As opposed to SHAKUR, who doesn't get a wit bonus, so she's starting from 10 base, has more mood effect for 12.9 total, only has 0.05 training effectiveness for 13.5, so she's already behind Fine Motion, and then she has only 25% friendship bonus for 16.9. This means that every single level 5 training tap, you are basically losing 5 wit by running SHAKUR versus Fine Motion. So that's like almost a 30% increase, which is a lot of wit, let's be honest. Alright, so before you actually get to friendship, a lot of times you're going to be running into the situation where you have to press wit in order to gain some bond. So a level 1 training with no friendship starts at a 6 base rather than a 10 base, and you just remove the friendship bonus on both sides. The math is on the screen, and you'll get 24% more wit from Fine Motion, or about 2 wit per tap. It is much less than 5 because you're at a level 1 training facility. So even though the percentage is similar, there's much less wit per tap. So what do? Well, you're going to have situations where you have level 2 trainings, level 3 trainings, your summers are level 5 trainings, and you're going to have level 4 trainings. So what do? I'm going to merge everything and just say that a friendship training is going to be a level 3 training. So it's right in the middle. Honestly, it's not too much different between the two. Fine motion starts at 9 and has the same equation as stated before. SHAKUR starts at 8 and does the same equation, gets 17.9 versus 13.5. A lot of math to basically say that it's about a 4.4 wit per tap for a friendship bonus, and that's going to be our assumption for this part of the training. Okay, so again, in the Nice Nature video, we said how many taps are we really going to do on wit. We used a very generous estimate of 16 friendship taps and 4 no friendship taps because of the special priority was equal, and also the point of that video was to give Fine Motion as many caveats as possible over Nice Nature so that when she inevitably beat her slightly, it's like, well, they're really close to the same. In this situation, we have specialty priority difference. So specialty priority, how it works is base values, you have 100 for each training type, or an 18% chance total, as well as 9% chance, or 50 out of 500. So whenever you're rolling basically a 550-sided dice. You're picking a number between 0 and 550. If it rolls fit to your left, it does not go on any training. Otherwise, each 100 is a different training. So with no specialty priority, basically, you have an 18% chance to actually go on wit. So for 60 taps times an 18.1% chance, you have a 10.8 trainings on wit. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to round it up to be nice and do 8 friendship taps and 3 no friendship taps. I'd say you have an average of 3 taps between the ones that you go on and off wit to actually get her to friendship level of 80 bond. And then also we do the same formula for each of the other. Let's just say you have 4 other types of training, right? But you're not going to always pick the training that she's on, right? So we're going to assume that she has 11 instances in the other training, just like how it's wit, that she is actually useful and on a good trading like speed. So like most times you're going to be doing speed and wit, so she's on speed because she doesn't have any special priority, just as often as she is on wit, right? So how does specialty priority work? Well, Fine Motion has 35 specialty priority. You literally just add it to the count. So she has 35 specialty priority, which means that her number is 585 base, and then wit gets added to 135. So wit is 135 out of 585, which means she's on wit 23% of the time. This is quite good. This is why Kittison Black is such a good card, because it's on speed like twice the amount of times as any other card. Doesn't feel like it at the end of senior year, but I mean, hey, we all get unlucky, especially me. So it's basically, this means that it steals some from all the other types of training. So 23% chance on wit, 17% instead of 18% for each other training, and then it also lowers the percent chance for no training because that stays at 50 as well. So doing the math, 60 taps total times 0.23 is 13.8. We are going to round up like we rounded up the other one. So 4 no friendship trainings and 10 friendship trainings, but we're all going to round down on the other one because the specialty priority is going to pull it off of other trainings. So let's just say it's 10 other trainings. So these are the assumptions we're making in specialty priority. It is almost impossible to calculate like an effective run because of the variance in this game, but this is a good assumption when just trying to get some base numbers. Okay, so for the other trainings, so the 11 versus 10, the 15% mood effect that SHAKUR has over Fine Motion will give an additional 3% TEF at Great Mood. We are going to assume Great Mood, and that means that Fine Motion has a 7% training effectiveness advantage because she has 10% training effectiveness minus 3% that mood effect gives. So if we assume, let's just give a speed tap, 8 speed plus 4 power, that's 12 stats, quote unquote. The other ones are similar. So you see like stamina 7 plus 3 for 10 instead of 12, power is 4 plus 6, strength is guts, which is 6 plus 3 plus 3. It's all around 10 to 12. So 12 stats times 0.07, which is the 7% training effectiveness ability, is about 0.84 stats. We're going to assume you're friendshipping on somewhere else. Otherwise, you probably should be racing, honestly, unless you're making bond. So you're going to have friendships that are like 50% bonus, friendship bonus, and you're going to have stuff where like nothing's friendship and you just have the training effectiveness. So I would say roughly around a 25% friendship is a low estimate, but still about okay, which ends up being about 1.05 stats per tap given to fine motion. So we're going to round that to about 1 stat per tap bonus for the 10 instances where there's other training. So how does the special priority affect it? Well, the difference between if you saw, it was 4 friendship taps, and if we look here, it's 4 friendship taps and 10 no friendship, or 4 no friendship taps and 10 friendship taps versus 3 no friendship taps and 8 friendship taps, and the additional 1 on the other training. How that compares is they both have 3 no friendship taps and they both have 8 friendship taps, and they both help the other trainings 10 times. Now the difference is that one has an additional other tap and one has an additional friendship tap. So the difference between those two is the additional wit that it's going to gain. And notably, the other difference is roughly about the same as the speed increase when doing a wit tap for friendship. So basically, you just cancel out the speed for that. For free, in addition to that, as you can see, we estimated an additional tap for fine motion over that over SHAKUR in addition to the other tap. So she will also get a free no friendship tap for fine motion. How does this go? Well, from the previous numbers, 2 wit per tap and 6.6 speed per tap. The reason why it's 0.6 is the speed ratio is 0.33, right, for fine motion. And then also for friendship taps, she gets an additional 4.4 wit and 1.46 speed per tap. For the other helper tap, she gets an additional 1 random stat per tap, let's say. And then the difference, you take the wit part only from a full tap, which is 17.9 wit. And for the no friendship tap that's free, you take a full no friendship tap, which is 10.1 wit plus 3.3 speed. Okay? Let's all add this up, and you get 69.2 wit and 17.1 speed and 10 stats. Let's just add 70 wit, 17 speed. We're going to just add the additional stuff to the wit, subtract the speed, 70 wit. 17 speed and 10 random stats gets added to fine motion. Okay, so our current tally is 35 stam, 13 skill points, 5 energy, and 20 bond for SHAKUR, 24 speed, 3 guts, 52 wit, 10 stats for fine motion. This is where the real issue starts coming around with SHAKUR is that she doesn't have any race bonus, and so like I said in the Nice Nature video, what really set Nice Nature back into the competition is that she has additional race bonus. So going through the stuff that we talked about in that previous video, you get roughly 380 stats and like what? 795 skill points. So that means that 5% race bonus, like we said in the other video, is 19 stats and 40 skill points, which means 10% race bonus is 38 stats and 80 skill points. Again, you can argue the stats because they're thresholded, are going to not always happen, but you can also argue that because you have 10% raise bonus where SHAKUR doesn't, you can run stronger other cards like Matekane Futikaru Wit or King Halo Speed, stuff that actually has more speed and other stat generation anyways, instead of having to run cards that have race bonus, okay? Even going from 35 to 40% race bonus, we still found gave like 10 stats bonus and a bunch of skill points. The skill points are granulated enough that they will almost always give you the proper amount of skill points, okay? So that's why we're going to keep the plus 38 stats even though they are thresholded. And yes, 35% is the threshold for most of the events, but you still get more for 40%, especially at the little Cocone skill point bonus at the end of the thing. So let's add these 38 stats and 80 skill points to the fine motion tally, and then we can see she really starts pulling away. 24 speed, 3 guts, 52 wit, 48 random stats, and 67 skill points versus just 35 stamina and 13 skill points. The skill points got canceled out by the race bonus, and that is why fine motion has the advantage on that. So we are going to cancel all the stamina and stuff with the random stats. And also we are going to basically take this 20 bond and 5 energy, and we're going to convert that into a friendship tap, which is like about 14 wit-ish. So if we subtract it all, it's actually 9 wit because we did friendship versus regular tap. So we're going to see the final total of 24 speed, 3 guts, 45 wit, 13 stats, and 67 skill points. She does have a skill point bonus. I'm going to get just, I guess, randomly impose a 40% bonus because of the TEF and everything. Training effectiveness, participation bonus, stuff like that. So we're going to say there's 21 taps that she's on, plus 1.4, that's 1 skill point. She gets about 30 free skill points from her skill point bonus, because you either get a friendship training or a helper with a rainbow, and adds 1 to the base value. So sometimes that +1 is really going to be a +2 if you reach the 100% threshold. See, because you're going from like 2 to 3 on most taps, right? So let's just subtract 37 skill point, and your final total: 24 speed, 3 guts, 45 wit, 13 random stats, and 37 skill points. The other thing to note is, so first of all, you're sacrificing a significant amount of stats. We're talking like over 100 stats between this and 30 skill points. In addition, again, as mentioned with Nice Nature Wit, it's kind of the skills are what are you looking for. So you get a bunch of greens with Fine Motion. You get Speed Star if you're a Pace Chaser. You get the generally good skills of Nimble Navigator. Straightaway Acceleration is okay. Corner Adept and Prepared to Pass for Pace Chasers. Where Air SHAKUR, really, honestly, you have 2 skills that are good. Pressure is okay on like 30% of the long tracks. Straightaway Spurt is what you're looking for end closers. It's just to stop the RNGing of the spurt on certain characters, and the RNG for Sweep Tosho speed, which is my recommendation, is usually just a 50-50 on Sweep Tosho speed, because she doesn't actually lose that much speed output over a Biko. It's almost identical. You just lose some training effectiveness. Unyielding is an incredibly gambly skill on medium races, because you have to get yourself past, but it is used in certain pass protection builds for Mayano Top Gun. Other than that, honestly, her skills are not as good as Fine Motions. But again, it's situational. Are you an end closer main? Are you a Fine Motion main? Of course, you shouldn't really be seeking out Air SHAKUR as a card. But again, if you have her, it's not the absolute worst thing in the world. It's just you're losing a lot of stats over the cream of the crop. But let's go and compare her to someone she might actually be able to fight against, which is Mejiro Dober. This is the welfare card. This is an SSR. This is about equal to a standard SR card. So Mejiro Dober, Wit, underrated card, honestly. A late surger card because of the skills, but let's card compare. SHAKUR gets 15 mood effect, 20 bond, 30 initial wit, because Mejiro Dober does not have the initial wit that Fine Motion does. Mejiro Dober gets 10 friendship bonus, goes from 30 to 20 to 30, and a wit bonus, 10 race bonus, and 35 specialty priority, which is the same thing as Fine Motion for these bottom 2. And the bottom 3, actually, the only difference is that it's much less friendship bonus. So we're going to actually give Air SHAKUR plus 30 initial wit and 20 bond. We're going to look at the events. We calculated all this stuff for Air SHAKUR. For Mejiro Dober, let me just get some water real quick. Here. For Mejiro Dober, her skills are not as good. She gets 13 guts, 13 wit, 5 skill points, 5 bond, -10 energy because of her final chain event. And for RNG, she gets 15 energy and a mood, and 45 skill points for a hint mile. Unyielding Spirit's like okay, so we're going to just take the skill points on that a lot of times. So we're just going to merge them all together and cancel them out, and you find that Air SHAKUR gets 35 stamina, 22 wit, 32 skill points, 8 energy because of the -10 energy, right? And then she just gets, Dober just gets 11 guts. So again, Air SHAKUR is actually going to pull quite far ahead in this case. Let's talk about training. The one thing you should really take from this entire video is wit bonus, and just stat bonuses in general are absolutely busted. Because if you look at this, even with the lower mood bonus, just a little bit more friendship bonus, and the same TEF, just having the 1 wit bonus, she actually pulls ahead by 1.9 wit per tap just because of that. It's 11.7. It's not 30%, but it's about the same. Okay. So without the friendship bonus, it's almost exactly the same. It's 1.1 wit per tap. The math is on the screen right there. So about 14%, which is better than the 34% that Fine Motion has. And at level 3, it's 15.4 versus 13.5. Math is on the screen as per usual, or about 1.9 wit per tap again. So it's pretty consistent, about 1.9 wit per tap for level 3 training. Training effectiveness per mood. She does not have as much TEF as fine motion, which means that Air SHAKUR actually pulls ahead slightly with the 3% mood effect TEF translation. So we're going to just round it up to about 0.5 stats per tap for Air SHAKUR, not for Mejiro Dober this time. So with the same specialty priority, we go through the same math as fine motion. It's just the numbers for what you get for each of these tap is different. You only get 1.1 tap and 0.3 speed per tap for non-friendship, 1.9 wit and 0.6 speed per tap for friendship, and then you lose a half random stat per tap for the other helper taps. The other ones, the friendship, the other different is 15.4 base rather than 17.1, and the free no friendship tap is only 9.3 wit rather than 10.4, and plus 3.1 speed rather than plus 6, right? So we're going to add all this stuff up, and essentially we get 43.2 wit, 8.1 speed, and -5 stats or 5 stats bonus for Air SHAKUR instead of the 10 stats for fine motion. Let's add all these up, and we get the following. So we just add 43, 8, and -5, and we subtract the wit this way, right? We get 8 wit, 35 stam, 20 bond, 32 skill points, 8 energy, 5 stats of random versus 11 guts and 8 speed. So it just kind of canceled out a bunch of the free stats that Air SHAKUR got. We're going to go and add the stats we did previously. Not going to go through it again, but 10% race bonus is 38 random stats, 80 skill points, and then the skill points is plus 30 skill point bonus, and then the 20 bond, 8 energy basically goes from no friendship to friendship, so we're going to add 6 more wit, a skill point, and a speed, right, for a tap. All right, so let's go and cancel all this stuff out, and all these random stats are basically going to cancel out the 5 stats here, and the skill points are going to cancel each other out. So we get 14 wit, 35 stamina for Air SHAKUR, 11 guts, 7 speed, 17 skill points, plus 33 stats random for Mejiro Dober. Let's just cancel out some stats. The random stats, let's just take them out of the wit and the stamina, and we get 19 stamina versus 17 skill points, 11 guts, and 7 speed, which is oddly close, right? You cancel those out, and you basically get 17 skill points versus a singular stamina. So are they the same card? Pretty much. So Air SHAKUR isn't bad. It's just an SR card. Like, it's just, in terms of wit output, it's really just an SR card. And you look at the skills again. If you're a late surger, like Mejiro Dober just has better skills because late surger savvy is just kind of that good. It's just free wit, right? Bigger picture is absolute garbage. Unyielding Spirit is only good on like freaking mile races, and then you get 2 bonus greens that are sometimes relevant. So the skill's honestly not that great. You do technically get Steadfast, which is basically unyielding white versus just a guaranteed straightaway spurt. And this is MLB Air SHAKUR. So like Air SHAKUR basically just is it just basically is an SR card. Like, it's about the same as the Dober welfare card. So if you somehow have a full MLB Air SHAKUR and you're like trying to go between that and running like Matakane or running like Mejiro Dober or like Agnes Tachyon, they're about the same card. So if you want to remove the RNG, it's perfectly fine. If you have other options like Nice Nature Wit, if you have other options like Fine Motion, even like running the Current Chan card, they're all going to just be better than Air SHAKUR. And that's why in the previous video I said not you for that one. It's like almost every wit card that's an SSR will beat her. That's not a welfare card. So this has just been the Air SHAKUR is kind of cope guide, I guess. I just need to do some math. So hope you enjoyed. Burb out. Take care.